Hey guys, it's me Katie up here in the Dublin Academy of Education, and I'm here today to kind of really break down the 4 main things that you need to be taking into account from now until June when you're sitting your French Leaving Cert exam. So we've got 4 different things up on the whiteboard here. We've got your oral exam, so your listening test, your reading comprehensions, your opinion piece questions, and your jeu n'intime. Alors, so for your oral exam, a couple of things you need to take into account, and like I said in the Whiteboard Wednesday for Spanish, there is no negative marking for the oral exam. So basically what that means is that you have a little bit more kind of to play with in terms of what you get to write down. So if you are asked for 2 pieces of information and you provide a third one marked as number 3 and the first one is wrong but the second 2 are correct, you're not going to be losing any marks for something like that. Okay. However, what you do need to make sure you're doing is not throwing stupid marks away and misreading the question, misreading the word like where for when or vice versa. That you're really making sure that if it says full details in the question, you're providing as many full details as you can in your answer. Okay, so no negative marking. Make sure that you're answering the question in full and properly, and also that you're answering it in the right language, which we're going to talk about now as well with the reading comprehensions. Okay, so unfortunately with the reading comprehensions, we don't really kind of have that room for play that we did with the marking scheme for the oral exam. We need to be a little bit more strict with our answers. We need to make sure that if we're asked for a very specific part of the comprehension to be recognised, that we're making sure that that's the exact part of the comprehension we're using in our answer. What we should be doing as well is making sure that we're prioritising our time. So I know that sometimes the French comprehensions can be very tricky or very formal, or just kind of very daunting, especially if you're someone who struggles a little bit with foreign languages, and it's very easy to sit there and spend, the guts of an hour on a comprehension. You shouldn't be doing it, okay? Go in, kind of try and break it down into manageable sized chunks, give it your best shot, and then come back to it at the end once you have the other sections of your exam completed. Okay? While we're talking about that, please do not go into the exam and start translating the whole text. First of all, you don't have the time, and if you do have the time, you shouldn't. So you should be using that time elsewhere to make sure that your answers are, top notch or as good as they can be. You also don't need to do it. As well, like with a lot of the comprehension questions, it's a case of kind of nearly matching up words. So you do not need to be either putting yourself through the mental trauma of trying to translate very formal literary French when there's no marks going for it. Just pointless. Okay. What I would say as well is just double check the language that you're meant to be answering in. If the question is in French, you answer in French. If the question is in English, you answer in English. Easy as that. Now, with regards to the question 6, so the summary question, where you'll be asked a kind of more general style question and then to provide evidence or refer back to the text in your answer. I always say to my students up here to, aim to kind of include the buzzwords, okay? So, why are you actually using this as your answer? Why do you agree? Why do you disagree? What's the buzzword in French that made you, come up with this point? And to use those in your answers and to incorporate them in. Maybe use the phrase, I wouldn't be going in and, adding in a huge big long sentence or 2 or 3 lines of text. Your answer needs to be in English with buzzwords or little buzz phrases or something that you can use to, back up your answer in English. But you should not be answering this in French. So it's not a case of saying, yes, I agree, because this whole paragraph, all in French, is evident of what the question is asking, so don't do that, okay? We've looked at your oral exam, your reading comprehensions, and now we are going to look at the third thing up here on our whiteboard, the bit that everyone is dreading of the French paper, the obligatory question 1, and then the optional opinion piece questions in 3 and 4. So, regardless of what level of French you're at, the time of your French exam, you are going to be annoyed, you're going to be stressed, you're going to be wrecked, you're not going to want to be there, it's going to be beautiful weather outside, and you're going to be stuck doing a French exam. So that means that no matter how good your French is, you are going to make mistakes. And that's fine, and that's normal, and we all make mistakes. But what you do need to keep in mind is, with those mistakes, the more you write, the more mistakes are going to be there. So regardless of how good your French is, whatever, the more mistakes there are there, the less marks an examiner can award you for your French language skills, which therefore means that your overall marks for the opinion piece question are going to suffer because of that. So although it's brilliant that some people are in a position where they can write 2 A4 pages, 2.5 A4 pages in French for the opinion piece questions, you don't have to, and you more than likely shouldn't, because it's more than likely going to bring your marks down, which is therefore going to mean that your grade is going to go down as well. So I would say for the obligatory question 1 to be aiming for a complete maximum of 1 A4 page. For the 75 word questions, I would say 3/4 of an A4 page. Like, it is very hard to stick to 75 words, but at the same time you don't need to be writing reams and reams of French to show off to the examiner. So between 3/4 of an A4 page and 1 A4 page max. Okay? Within your answers, regardless of if it's the obligatory question 1 or the other questions, you need to be showing the examiner that you know a variety of tenses, that you're able to use those tenses with different subjects. So basically that you're not writing your whole answer using the je pronoun, that you know how to conjugate verbs with different people, and that you know how to use different clauses and everything like that. All the really boring grammar stuff that has been drilled into you for the last 6 years. You've spent 6 years of your life moaning and complaining about how hard French verbs are, and then you choose not to use half of them in your Leaving Cert exam. So for the sake of 6 years of moaning, use it to your advantage and show off a little bit in the exam. Okay? With regards to the subjunctive, if you've gotten to this stage and you still haven't a clue what it is, that's absolutely fine. That was me the whole way through college. Don't use it. If you don't know how to use it, then don't. You're just throwing away stupid marks that you could be getting for using correct and easier grammar. However, if you're really pushing for a H1 and the rest of your French has been impeccable, chances are you're going to get yourself into a situation where, grammatically speaking, you need to use the subjunctive. And if the subjunctive isn't there in that situation, it's going to lose you marks. So either aim for correct use of the subjunctive or avoid it completely. Don't feel like you have to force it onto the page just to get a H1, because you don't need to. I would say to maybe plan your answer a little bit, give yourself 5 or 10 minutes before you start writing anything. Scribble out all your main ideas, where they're going to go, what structure they're going to be in. Are you going to use paragraphs? Are you going to skip a line in between each point? Really give yourself kind of, 5 minutes of proper planning, so you're not going in and rushing this huge big long answer in French. Okay? And by doing that, you're going to make sure that you have manageable chunks of French that you can translate into a good answer. And then the last thing, so we have number 4, the journal intime. And as all of my grind students up here know, I am obsessed with the journal intime, and that is why I've chosen that as the final thing to talk about. The journal intime is probably the best question to do in terms of its level of difficulty, but also in terms of the marks that candidates are usually awarded for easier French. So the journal intime, as you all know, is a diary style question. And we all know that teenagers, especially in 6th year, like to moan. You like to be very dramatic. That's fine, me too. But you should be really trying to get that into your answer. So I love when we get a negative diary entry on the exam and you get to start off with "Quel cauchemar, je viens de passer la pire journée de ma vie entière." I've just had the worst day of my whole life. Like, that probably hasn't been the worst day of your whole life, but like, for the sake of the exam, make the poor examiner's life a little bit happier and have a good moan and make him laugh a little bit. But they're the kind of things that are going to get you really good communication marks, and they're really easy to learn off. Okay, so is it personal? Sound like yourself. This isn't the time to be using any bad words in French or to be really kind of complaining that you hate French or anything in your French exam. So sound like yourself-ish. Okay, so a slightly more polite, less stressed, less exhausted version of your 6th year self. Okay, get your key phrases in. So like I was just saying, je viens de passer la pire ou la meilleure journée de ma vie entière. Get all of those little phrases in. They're the easiest things to do, and they're also valid in terms of the marking scheme. That's going to get your communication marks going straight up. Okay, so that's the last thing we have to formally cover. What else I would say to you with regards to how you can be approaching all of this, rather than just sitting down and doing formal exam style questions. Apps like Duolingo or Babbel is another really good one, are things that you can just incorporate into your daily routine. So getting up 5 minutes earlier, or spending 5 minutes in the car with your mum or dad when you ride to school, 5 minutes on the dart or the bus, or even if you walk, and just accomplishing a little linguistic task every day can be really, really beneficial to just making sure that you're staying on top of your French in the middle of all of these Irish oral exams and music practicals and everything like that. I know that you've loads of stuff to do, but for the sake of 5 minutes it can really, really help. Other things you can be doing are researching French language on Netflix. They all have English subtitles, so don't worry, but again, it's just a nice way of kind of subconsciously doing a little bit of extra French. And if you like watching YouTube, maybe go onto youtube.f4 instead of youtube.com, and that way then French videos or French themed videos will be much more accessible to you, and again, way better than having to sit down and study a load of French verbs. Okay, thanks for watching guys, see you later.